Okay. Second time lucky, hopefully. Right. Really not sure what's going on today. Tech is playing up something terrible. So the gimbal's not working. It wouldn't charge. We thought it's been on charge all night, but it's not. So Drew's toy's playing up, and then my phone suddenly cut out. So hopefully we're here now. Hi everybody. Poor Alex is braced, and it's going to be a long one as well. I'm really sorry, Al. It's going to be a long one. He's braced like that with the phone. So so we're going to have to bear with us today. Okay. Are people coming online? Is everybody coming online? Say hello if you're there, please, guys, because
there's 16 people.
Cool. Because yeah, all sorts of tech stuff. I tell you what, tech the last couple of months has been a nightmare. Although we should probably start using the overhead more, because we've finally got that sorted now with what's the word? The echoing's gone and everything. It's working perfectly now. So I'll get that set up for tomorrow. So sorry, I need to split my tea. I've been running around like an idiot now for the last 10 minutes going, what's going on? So who's there, Al? Alex is with us today because Drew's on a driving lesson.
We got Tina Smith, Marilyn Thomas.
Hi
Nicole
Tina.
Mill,
Hi Marilyn.
Rebecca Barker, Kate, Taryn.
Lovely.
Bunch of people.
All the usual suspects and some extras, I expect. So yeah, you have to excuse this slightly wobble going on today because, like I said, poor Al's having to try and brace as best as he can. So first things first, we got a raffle to pull. So the last one went yesterday. This is going to be the last one before Christmas because obviously we've got our Advent calendar raffle running now. That's been going really, really well. Lots and lots of you bought it online. Lots of people started to buy in the shop as well the last couple of days. So it's that one's £2 a ticket, and there's 24 prizes to be won. We will draw a winner every day. So as Sarah was saying to you yesterday, the more that you, the more times you go in it, the more times you've got to win, and you can win more than once. If you've bought 5 tickets, you could technically win 5 times. So, so this was the last one. It was the UK TV sitcoms. So just move this out of the way, and I'll go through the prizes quickly first. Okay, go quick because I'm gonna have to let Al's, bless him, like that. So we've got one of our rulers from the lovely Crafty UK. We have a June Taylor placemat pack. We have a Moda charm pack. We've got one of our patterns. We've got, hang on, just get the smaller bits out because I can drop those back in. We've got 5, there is another one in there, moon threads, okay, and all like the most popular colours. We've got machine needles and rotary cutter, and then we've got a lovely Christmas panel as well, which you can make 4 stockings out of, okay, if you wanted to. Plus, of course, you get 3 metres of fabric of your choice, and a metre of wadding as well, okay. So all of that's the raffle prize. Oh, and that one. And so if we go close up on here, please, Al. So we're going to get under here. So somebody do a drum roll for me, please. Okay, let's try and get under here. Let's go. Oh, come on, this one does not want to... Oh, God, this one's stuck down well. Come on, left. There we go. Got it, I think. Oh, the suspense. So it is, are you being served? So that is, are you being served? Jackie Ireland. Jackie Ireland, that one's yours. This one's coming to you, lovely. So that prize is for you. We will give you a call later on, okay, and get it posted up to you. All right, so congratulations to Jackie Ireland. The winner was Are You Being Served? So that's back in the box. We're going to crack right on with it. Okay, so, because like I said, Al, like that, bless him. So, everybody okay? Any questions or comments there? Anybody, just everyone saying hello, or?
Just a bunch more hellos.
Hi, everybody. Hi. So, today we're going to have a little go at one of these, okay? Now, this is a tablet case, and I thought it'd be a really nice way of showing off and using all those decorative stitches that you have on your machines that we never use. If you're anything like me, I've got like, what, 2,000 stitches, or 1,800, it's 1,800, isn't it? 1,800 stitches on there. I probably only use 3 of them. So I thought this was a really nice way of showing off, your stitches. We're going to be doing some decorative stitching, and then you can open it up, and it's all bound and padded, and you can pop your tablet in there, okay? Keep your tablet or your Kindle or your iPad or whatever. You can make them, so this is a pretty standard size tablet, so I'm going to give you the measurements for this. But once you've made one, there's nothing stopping you. Like this is my Kindle, which the cover is now very battered, but you could make them smaller to keep your Kindle in. Okay, so you could make a smaller one with a flap to keep your Kindle nice and safe. They are padded, and we've used some of the new Fusible Fleece in there for padding, so you know they're nice and protected. And again, I just thought it was a good excuse to use your stitches. So I looked at lots of different patterns out there because there's lots of versions of this, and kind of cherry picked the bits I like to make this pattern. Okay, there were some bits I didn't like the binding on. There were some ones I didn't like how they'd done the front cover and stuff, you know, how they'd done the flap. So lots of different ways, and I've sort of messed around and done my own version. So what you're going to need 2 fabrics, and you can get away with it for a standard size tablet like that one. I mean, that's a big-ish tablet, but a standard size tablet. You're going to need a piece of fabric which is 23 inches by 11.5, okay? And you want the same in your lining fabric as well, which I've just realised is still over here. See, I'm so running around like an idiot, I haven't even trimmed this one down. So this is, I'm using a pale grey for the inside, okay? And I've fused that onto this Fusible Fleece, okay? It comes on the roll. It is a medium loft one, so it is like a wadding, but it's got a glue on it, okay? It's H640. If you ever see it in a pattern, it's called H640, okay? We've got it in stock. It's on the website. And I don't know if you can see. I don't know if that's coming up, Al.
It does when it's by here.
Yeah, you can see there's like little bobbles on it, and that's the glue, okay? So it's only fusible on one side. So I've fused my lining fabric directly to it, and I have to say, it stuck brilliantly. It was like one sweep of the iron, and it really stuck, okay? I'm going to trim that down. I'm just going to trim off with the scissors, trim off the excess. So I'm going to do that before I do anything else. And your lining fabric is exactly the same size as your outer fabric. So I've cut a piece 11.5 by 23, okay? So again, you could do this with a ruler and rotary cutter if you want. I'm just being a bit lazy. I had my scissors to hand. So how is everybody? Everybody okay? Anybody having a chat there just while I do this, Drew? Alex, sorry. It's Alex. Alex is with me today. That's bad, isn't it? Don't even remember my own kids' names.
Claire says it looks lovely. Think it might adapt to a laptop bag.
Yeah, you could absolutely. You could make them bigger and make them for your laptop. Absolutely, exactly the same. I would measure your tablet, laptop, Kindle, whatever it is, and I added an inch and a half. So if it, like that one was 10 inches by 8 inches, so I've added on an inch and a half for 11.5. So it's a snug fit, but you can get it in and out easily. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that bit. I'm just going to put the lining aside for now. All I've done is literally fuse it to that Fusible Fleece. Okay, brilliant stuff. I've not used it before. This is the first project I've ever used it in. It's amazing. Loving it. On your outer fabric, okay, you need to make some measurements. Okay, so if you've got a directional fabric, now this isn't. I've used a real plain because I'm going to use variegated threads to sort of really embellish it and everything. But you don't have to do the stitching on this. You could just use a really beautiful fabric. Okay. So this is the bottom, this is the top. Okay, so you want to put a couple of measurements on. So you want to measure down, from the bottom, you're going to measure up, not measure down. You're going to measure up, this is the bottom. I'm going to measure up 8 inches, which is what I did. Measured up 8 inches, like that. And I'm going to draw myself a little line or put some pins in, just mark it so that I can fold it over and iron a crease in, okay? And then you want to do the same again. You want to measure 8 inches up again and do the same. And just give yourself some guidelines, all right? Now, you could absolutely decorate this front and back, all right? You could, bits everywhere, from all bits of thread. You could do lines of stitching all the way over, okay? I made this one last night, and I got to that bit and I thought, actually, I'm okay with it being plain on the back. So what I did was I wanted a little bit on the bottom there and on the main flap. How you decorate. This one, I'm only going to put a couple of lines on the flap. I'm going to do it less embellished. So you can do it as little or as much as you want, okay? On that first line of 8 that we measured, okay, so this is going to end up being the bottom of the case, and this is going to come over as my flap, all right? I measured out 1/2 inch up from that crease line, and 1/2 inch again, and 1/2 inch again, okay? And I just used, you know, if you're using a light colour, you can use a Frixon, but because the Frixon wasn't showing up very well, I just used one of the chalk markers and literally just drew myself some lines along there so that when I was doing the decorative stitching, I had a line to follow, okay? I'm going to do exactly the same from this edge. Now, you don't have to have a curved flap, okay? You could just have a square flap. You could have a point. Okay, how you do it, I quite like this curve, so I'm going to show you that, but how you do it is entirely up to you. So on this top edge here, I literally grabbed a dinner plate, random old dinner plate, laid it down and drew my curve on. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. I just again used the chalk marker and I've just drawn my curve on. Okay, I'm then going to draw some lines on here to get my lines of stitching nice and, you know, what's the word? Parallel. Perpendicular. Which is the word? I'm not sure. One of those words, okay? Just so they're nice and in line, okay? So again, I'm going to just measure up. Now I'm going to start about 3/4 of an inch from the edge because we're going to put binding on it. So there's no point doing it right on the edge because you're going to lose it all. So I'm going to add a line that's not 3/4, this ruler's the wrong way around. So 3/4 of an inch up, like that, and draw myself a little chalk line. I'm hoping you can see this. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll try and get into the light a little bit. And then I'm going to go 1/2 inch up each time. So use the 1/2 inch line on this ruler. Try using this white pencil, that might show up a little bit better. There we go, like that. And then 1/2 inch again. Now, like I said, on this one, I'm just going to do 3 lines. I'm just going to do 3 lines. I can't find my white Roxanne pencil anywhere. I searched and searched for it, can't find it. So I've got a little old chalk pencil there. So I'm going to do just 3 lines on this one. I'm not going to overly embellish it, okay? The other thing I would suggest you do is put some interfacing on the back. Now, you could interface the whole thing. That's absolutely fine. I only had scraps left, and actually it doesn't matter if you haven't got interfacing. It's just on the bits that you're going to stitch. If you're going to stitch the whole thing, interface the whole thing. But the interfacing, when you're doing decorative stitching, because the machine moves around all over the place, if you just come back up to me a second, hun. Okay, so when you're doing decorative stitching, obviously the needle is going all over the place and doing the patterns, which means that the fabric is being pulled in lots of different directions. So it can pucker really, really easily. What I've used a firm interfacing, and what that does, like when we do red work and stuff, it just helps stabilise that fabric. And I got almost no puckering at all when I was doing this one, just by doing that, okay? On my little test pieces, absolutely, some of them were beautiful and other of them were really, really puckered. That's just because of how much the machine is moving the fabric, okay? So I've done a couple of lines of embroidery already on this bit. You didn't need to sit and watch me do hours and hours of decorative stitches, but I thought we'd do these 3 here. Now I'm using like a white and black and grey variegated thread on this one. You can see it's sort of white, black and grey variegated. On this one here, this first one that I did, I used this one, which is colour 4112. These should be on the website. And it sort of went through, I quite liked it against the denim. I'm hoping you guys can see this well. I quite liked it against the denim because it sort of went through reds, yellows and greens. And I thought it really worked against that really dark denim-y blue. But if you just come out a minute out, I've got a few other colours as well here. I just picked up a few from the shop. And you can see that actually that one that I used doesn't look particularly nice on the roll, but actually looks really pretty when it's stitched out. So there's lots of different colours. I particularly like this one. It's like a full rainbow, that one. I think would look lovely on like white or or black, a really dark colour, it would stitch out beautifully. So we have got variegated threads on the website if you want them. Okay, you might have them in your stashes. We tend to buy them because they go, ooh, pretty, and then we never really use them. So I thought this, again, ideal opportunity to do this. So we're going to nip over to the machine and we're going to do a couple of lines of decorative stitching on here. Okay, now you might, I've got a posh machine, I know I'm very lucky, it does lots and lots of stitches, but you don't need to necessarily have a machine that does lots and lots of fancy stitches. Most stitches have got like a little cross hatchy one. Most machines have got 2 or 3 at least decorative stitches on them. I literally went, oh, I fancy that one, oh, I fancy that one, I fancy that one. So I've used lots of different ones. This machine also actually stitches sideways, so you get much wider. Like this one here, I wasn't expecting this to be quite as wide as that. I was expecting it to be a little tiny pattern, but when it started stitching, it actually stitches out that wide. My machine actually stitches sideways. But most machines, even a really, really basic, even like our little Silvercrest, which is the little machines we've got in the shop, they've got like 20 odd decorative stitches on, so most of them have got something you can have a play with. So I'm going to slip my coffee. Anyway, right, now I'm going to split my tea. Talk to me, ladies. What are you up to? What's everybody commenting there, Al? Anything?
Nicola said, I love the stitches. A couple looked great, that's lovely.
Cool.
Clever idea for the curve, using a plate.
Yeah, so, and I'm not going to cut it yet. I'm not going to cut it until I've put the lining on, and we're going to cut it together. But yeah, it's easy, it's to hand, and it was the right size. So I'm going to just randomly choose a couple of stitches. Okay, I'm going to try and not do anything too complicated because we'll be here for hours. What have we got? Oh gosh, let me see if oh, we go. I haven't tried that one. Let's try number 72. Let's try number 72. Okay, 72. Oh no, that's like a scallop, I don't want that. 72. No, oh, hang on. Go back. Right, that one, and then 72. There we go. It looks like the sea, like the waves. I'll show you in a second. So, because I drew that curve on, I know I don't need to start right at the end, because you're just wasting thread. So I'm going to start just off the curve, and away we go. Now this might be a bit noisy. Now the reason I drew the lines, I'm hoping you can see this actually. Al, do you want to come just round a second?
Sure.
I'm just going to make Al come round a second so I can show you this, okay? Let me grab this. So, I'm using my N foot, but you can use your J foot, but I would use something you can see, that's pretty open here, okay? And I've got a little line in the foot. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that right in the centre there? Okay, and got that little line there in the foot. I'm going to, as near as damn it, try and keep that line on that little gap in the foot on the line that I drew. Okay, that's why we drew the lines, because it's very easy, just because the fabric's being pulled around, it's very easy for your pattern to end up, going on a bit of a wonk. Okay, so that's it. You can go back the other way now, hun. So I just thought I'd show you that, so that's how I was lining everything up. Okay. And then we're just going to stitch. We're just going to go for it. So let's see. Oh, this might be a really big one. Oh, no, I think I've chosen the wrong one. What's this doing? Can you see how long? It's actually stitch aside. That's way too long. I'm going to stop that one. We'd be here till 5 o'clock this evening. Okay. That bit there is actually going to, I would unpick that, okay? Let's choose a different one. Let's choose a different stitch. So let's try, what should we try? Let's just try 04. That's going to be a huge pattern. That would be like that big diamond. It would be like this. And I don't want, well, I'll try that another time, but not today. Okay, let's try this one instead. But before you start stitching these, I would have a play. I would do yourself up a piece of scrap fabric with some interfacing on, and you could actually, just stitch out some lines and then just write the number on them so you know which ones they are. Let's try this one. Why is my foot not working properly? Let's try this again. Ah, there we go. Okay, so this looks like it's just like a little herringbony pattern. And I've seen this one on lots and lots of machines, so I know most people will have this one. But it looks really effective in the variegated cottons. So, anybody having a chat there, Al, while this is stitching out? Anybody commenting?
Sandra and Linda both said great camera work.
Oh, well done, Al. So, and all I'm doing is concentrating. The machine's going to do its own thing. You know, it's stitching out its program, so I'm just concentrating on keeping that line right in in line with that gap, so it's as straight as it can be. Okay, and you can see this is just like a little feathered herringbony pattern. This one. Okay, so down we go. It's going to be a bit boring for you guys to watch actually, because I need to put at least 3 lines in to give it a bit of, you know, bit of decoration, but we'll just go for it. So, talk to me then, ladies, while I'm stitching this. Talk to me. What have you been up to? Who's been doing what? Right, there we go. So I've just gone past that circular line, so I'm going to cut my thread. There we go. And you can see there, you've got like a little herringbony pattern. But how pretty does that look in the variegated threads? You know, it gives it a real sort of little bit more dimension and stuff. So I'm going to go for another one. Let's try, I don't think I've done that one. Let's try number 40. Let's see if that works. There we go. We're going to try that one. So, yeah, talk to me, ladies. Otherwise, it's just going to be me rabbiting on, which you're going to be very bored with quickly. Anybody doing anything interesting? What if, that's pretty. Yeah. What are you sewing at the moment? What's everybody doing? We've had lots of the Fat Quarter Advents go out, which is really cool. Well, thank you very much for those, guys. And we've had lots of people subscribing to our subscription boxes as well, which is really, really lovely. I've got lots of yummy, yummy, yummy things planned for the subscription boxes. So yeah, you can do either, like I think Sarah was saying to you yesterday, you can either do 1 month just to see, and you can just order one each month as and when you want them, or you save if you order either 3 monthly, or you save again if you order 6 monthly. So yeah, so I've got some nice things planned for that, and some lovely fabrics planned for those as well. Oh, advent calendars. So at the moment we're offering a Fat Quarter advent calendar, but somebody did say, oh, there's no wool one. If you want a wool advent calendar, you want us to wrap up 24 balls of wool, just like we've done with the Fat Quarters, so you've got a surprise every day, just get in contact. We will happily put something together for you, okay? So, so if you'd like a wool one, just let us know. Was that really noisy, love? Is that why you were...
I have no idea.
Back, yeah. So, who's there? Who's got anything to say? Anybody?
There was a couple.
Was a couple?
Yeah, let me go back from the start. Have you got variegated thread in the bobbin too?
I haven't. I've got just a plain grey, but that's because I was running late and it was what I had in the bobbin drawer already done. Okay, but you can see I did have yesterday when I made that one. I had variegated thread in the bobbin. I would, because if your tension if it does pucker and your tension goes a little bit and it pulls that bottom thread up, if it's the same colour as the top thread, you're not going to see it as much. I've just got a plain grey in this time, just because I was like running out of time. I was like, ah! So, right, I need one more. What should we do? Let's try... Oh, any other questions there?
Yeah, there's a bunch. Jean said still working on my twisted pretzel quilt.
Ah, lovely. Ah, it was such a lovely day. We had such a nice class, didn't we? Oh, should I try the bees? Should I try the little bees? It might be a bit long, but I'm going to try the bees.
Sonia said I might have to try that variegated thread.
Yeah, no, I want the bees to be the right way round, so I'm going to do it this way. Yeah, I really love for decorative stitching. I don't really use it for quilting or anything, I have to say, but I use it a lot for decorative stitching. I use it quite a lot for top stitching as well. I think, you know, it gives a nice sort of finish to it. So yeah, it's definitely worth trying. Right, these apparently are little bees. Let's see what happens. So, Anybody else got any questions there?
Elaine said, I'm busy catching up with all the craft show makes.
Ah, lovely. Yeah, we've had lots and lots of orders go out for the thing we did on Saturday for the Manx quilting. We've had lots of those, which is really lovely. So this one is, I probably shouldn't have chosen this one. It's going to be a bit of a long one, I think. Sorry, guys. So, at least it's only short distance because it's the short bit of the curve. But this is kind of the joy of doing a little project like this, is you get to play with those stitches. You always think, oh, you know, what else would I do decorative little bees on? Any other questions there, love? Anybody having a chat?
Tina said, so today making 3 more advent stockings.
Oh, that was such a nice idea, Tina. It was really lovely. I saw the one you put on the gigglers. Anything else? So, how are you all enjoying Bake Off? Anybody after the great donut debate of last week? How are you all enjoying Bake Off? I think I'm finally caught up now. So, I've just got into it now. Who's your favourite? I think mine's the young lad. I really like him. He just looks so embarrassed at everything. He's a real little blusher. There we go. Right, so let's have a little look at that, see what that's done. Let's just get that over the line. There we go. Okay. Ah, look! Right, let's bring it over to the light so you guys can see it. Those do look like little bees. Look at those little bees there on the end. That's really cute. So you would do as many lines of stitching as you want, okay? I quite like the flap of the case having quite a lot on it. I think I probably wouldn't have done this one. I quite like that. I think that would be really nice on other things, but I think it probably only needed a couple on the bottom. But like I said, you could do the whole thing. You could get really carried away. This could be your decorative stitch sampler. You know, where you literally go through the alphabet of the stitch, you know, the numbers on your machine. So I'm not going to do any more now, obviously because of time and everything, okay? And poor Alex's hands. So next thing I want to do is I want to pop this on top of, what did I do with it? What did I do with it? The lining fabric. There it is. Ha! I couldn't find it then. It's because it was folded that way. I thought it was the scrap. So we're going to now sandwich these together, okay? So it is only fusible one side, so you want to use a little bit of your basting spray, and we're going to sandwich this down, okay? So I'm just going to... Did you get a mouthful of that then, Al?
Yep.
Sorry. There we go, okay? And I really like the fact that it glued really well as well. Don't breathe a second. Ugh. That was a bit of a mouthful there. And I'm just going to sandwich these ones together. Okay, like that. And then I just want to trim off any excess of that interfacing that was overhanging. Okay, so I'm just going to run my ruler down that edge like that and get rid of that little bit of excess there. Okay, and there, because fabric moves and stretches as we're stitching, so it's only a weeny bit, but it's worth just tidying up at this point. Okay, you'll get a nicer finish to your case. So who would you make one of these for? If you've got somebody, you know, if you've got like teenagers or grandsons or nephews or anything that you never know what to make, you could do, you know, some really nice, you know, if they're always carrying, you know, like a Nintendo Switch or an iPad or something, you could make something, you know, the right size for them. Next, now I've stuck it all together, I want to cut out that curve, okay? Oh, look at me, I've got bits everywhere. Now, I'm actually going to use the plate to do this, so I'm going to put the plate, I'm lining the plate back up like that. And I'm just going to put my rotary cutter round the edge of the plate. Like that. And there you go, I've got a nice... Oh, I've missed that. I'm just going to use the scissors there just to just to do that little bit there. Okay. But you've got a nice clean cut and it all matches up by doing it all together. Okay, so I missed that bit, so I'm just going to... There we go, got it. Okay. Next little thing we want to do is... Oh, another little trick actually I found out. So, you know when you stitch rippers, the rubber ends, they get rid of the Roxanne pencil just by giving it a rub like that. The Roxanne pencil, I did that on this one and it all came off just by doing that all the way down, and my pencil disappeared. I didn't have to wash it out or anything, which I really liked. I like that bit. So first thing we're going to do now is we're going to bind this edge here, okay, because it's going to end up looking like that and like that, okay. So we're going to have something that looks a little bit like that. All right, you will need to bind this edge. I've just realised that needs trimming. It's gone a bit wonky where I glued it. Let's just trim that down. A little bit of excess there. All right, so where have they gone now?
What are you looking for?
They've fallen off the table. They've fallen off the table. There's my bias binding, and there's my little bit. There's my little strip. So I decided that I would do this one. The binding on this one in the lining fabric colour, which is what I did on this one. I just bound it in yellow, okay? But I'm going to do the outside binding in the same colour. But you could use a contrast. If you like that idea, you could do it in a contrast, okay? So for this little piece here, I've cut a 2-inch strip and I want a piece of fabric that is just slightly longer than the width of my case, okay? Like that. And I'm going to iron it in half. So while I'm doing that, who's there, Al? Anybody else commenting? Anybody else having a little chat?
Linda said, what's a Roxanne pencil? Do you sell them?
Yeah, so they're the Roxanne chalk pencils and they come in silver or white. I don't think we've got the mixed packs in stock at the moment, but we have got the silver packs and the white packs. And it's a chalk pencil, but it's got a like an additive to it. It's not wax. There's an additive to it. They're washable. They're basically washable out chalk pencils, but they're brilliant. They do not shatter. I've had, as you can see, this one's all, you know, it's worn away. I sharpen it and sharpen it and sharpen it, and they last for ages because the nibs don't break like a lot of traditional chalk pencils do. So yeah, I really, really, really recommend the Roxanne pencils. They're brilliant.
Sandra said, what length is that ruler?
This one, it's a 17 inch. It's a 2.5 by 17 inch. It's one of our white gecko ones, which I think, again, are on the website. They should be on the website. Okay, anybody else there?
An earlier question, Linda said, what stitch width for the bees?
Oh, they're pre-programmed, love. You don't change the stitches with with most decorative stitches. You don't change them. They are pre-programmed. If you start messing with the stitches, you'll throw out the design. So when you, like on here, like on my machine, in fact, I won't make him come round again. Sorry. On my machine, it's actually blanked out, so I can't mess with the widths and the lengths, otherwise it throws the computer programming out. You might be able to on yours, in which case have a little play around with it on some scrap fabric. So what I'm going to do is on the front, I'm going to put the raw edges like that. So I've got all raw edges together, and I'm going to stitch down 1/4 inch all the way down. Okay, just like we do with a quilt binding, and then we're going to turn it over. Okay, so I'll whip over to here and make sure that I change my stitch back to 1/4 inch. Oh, helps if it was 1/4 inch. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to stitch down 1/4 inch like that. So I'm keeping I would probably not use the variegated thread, but I'm keeping it in for now. Time and all that. So any other questions there while I'm doing this?
Sonia said, my one Roxanne pencil was broken in the pack.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry. What, the actual snapped or the lead had all broken? Because you have to sharpen them yourselves normally, don't they? Was that your pen snap? The pencil snapped? You should have let us know, hun. We'd have replaced it. I imagine it was in the postage, maybe. Okay, so stitch down, iron it out really, really well. So I'm going to iron that out. Give that a really good press. The thing I liked about that Fusible Fleece as well is it stitched really nicely. And then we're going to turn this over like this. Like little clips. Okay. So I'm going to pull that over like that. And I'm going to clip this into place. So, and I'm going to stitch this down. You could hand stitch this down if you wanted to. For time, I'm going to do this on the machine. Okay. So, I'm just going to clip it all down. I find the clips easier. It's probably why you call them binding clips. But I do find them easier with this sort of thing than trying to get pins in there. And I do use quite a few. I'm quite generous with them as well. Really make sure you've got that all nice and pinned down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch in the ditch here just to hold that binding down. Okay. So, how are you all doing? Are you still with me? Because sorry, this is a bit of a long one today. We've probably still got about another 10-15 minutes yet. So
Sonia said the actual pencil. I'll bring it to the shop to show you. I only noticed the other day.
Yeah, if it was the actual pencil, yeah, let us know. I imagine that's happened in the post, hun, which is a bit annoying, but we'll get it sorted for you. Okay, and I'm just going to slow it down a weeny bit. That was me slowing it down, but going really fast. But you could, again, do a decorative stitch along here if you wanted to. You just have to make sure it's catching the binding. So I'm going to go all the way down there. Excuse me while I concentrate a second. Anybody else there got any questions?
Linda said, okay, my B1 has it. I think talking about...
that B stitch?
Yeah, talking about the moving the stitch width.
Oh, you can move yours, can you? See, I can't on this one. It says... which Linda is it?
Linda Head.
Linda Head. Maybe you can make yours bigger or smaller. I don't know. My B1 was a set pattern, hun. So I don't know, to be honest, what width it is, because it doesn't even tell me what width it's actually on it. They're actually blanked out, so I can't mess with them. Well, let me play. Okay, so just added that little bit of stitching on so that it catches through to the back. And then you can trim off your excess. I'll move my clips out of the way because I'm making our work for it today, aren't I? Backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Trim off that excess just in line. Like, oh, don't do that. That was a mess, wasn't it? Hang on a second, ladies. Just trim that off. Just caught the edge of that fabric. There we go. Okay. So, you want to fold this up now. So I've folded it up on that 8-inch line, like that. All right. And pop a couple of just clips in just to hold it for now. Like that. And this side as well. And now we're going to bind the rest of it. So we're going to bind from this edge here. So if I turn it towards you, there we go. We're going to bind from this edge here all the way up and round and back down and finish there. You will find it so much easier and not swear lots at your binding, which is what I did on this one, if you cut a bias binding. I didn't cut a bias binding on this one. I cut just a normal straight binding, and I had to iron the hell out of it, like real starch and iron it to get it on. I should have cut bias. Served me right, I should have cut bias. So I've cut some bias strips. So just by using your 45-degree angle, we've done this on tutorials before. In fact, if you look back on YouTube, you should be able to find your tutorial for bias strips. Ooh, come stand back up. And I'm just going to trim off that edge so it's nice and straight, like that. And you want to turn over, and all I've done is cut the bias strips, join them together on the diagonal to keep the bias, and then fold them in half and iron it, okay? You're going to open up back one end, and you're going to fold it in like that, and we're going to iron it again because you don't want any raw edges showing. So fold it in like that, and then refold like that. so it's all nice and tucked in. All right. Now, you want to do this, well, I want to do this side. So, and why that is so that this flap, I hand stitched under here. The majority of the time you're not going to see it, okay? So I had the sort of clean, neat machine stitching showing on the top. So we're going to work on this side, okay? You're going to put raw edges together. So that little bit that we folded over, you're going to line up with the end of your tablet like that, okay? Line up that, the folded edge with the folds there in the tablet and all your raw edges together. And then we're going to pin it all down, okay? So, hang on, which way round? No, it needs to start, sorry, I need to go this side, just because the way that my machine stitches. So I'm going to go this side, so that it's not trying to go through the throat. So again, line up all my raw edges and clip it in. And we're going to work our way round like this. Okay, all the way around. And you want a lot of clips or pins, whichever you choose to use. Pin it really, really, really well. And the reason obviously we've done it on the bias is because we've got a curve and it will sit so much nicer. And if it hadn't been 10:15 at night when I was having a real paddy with the original binding, I would have gone back over the shop and got more fabric and cut bias, but I didn't want to go out that time of night, so I didn't. Okay, so I'm just gently easing that round and stretching it, not too much, but just easing it in to match that curve. Okay, and that's why you want it on the bias, so you've got that little bit of stretch. Okay, and we're going to go all the way around. Just get rid of that dog ear quickly. There we go. All the way around like this. And I think I would just cut it from the excess fabric, the bias strips. I think I've got 3 on here. Okay, all the way around, like this. Now when we stitch this, because you're going to be going through quite a lot of thickness, I would absolutely put my stitch length up. Okay, so just while I finish this binding, talk to me, ladies. Who's got anything to say? Any questions there, Al, or comments?
What's the difference between normal and bias binding?
So normal binding that we would use for a quilt is just, you normally do 2.5 inches, and it's just cut on the straight, it's cut across the width of fabric. Come to me a second. You just cut it across the width of fabric, 2.5 inches, and join them together. Bias cut strips are when you cut it at a 45-degree angle through the fabric, and what that does is, so that's a normal cut strip, okay? And you can see when on the edge I've got hardly any stretch. If I try and pull it, can you actually see it unraveling? Okay, so there's stretch that way, but there's really no stretch. If I cut, hang on, I don't want to pull this too much, but if I do that on a bias cut, can you see how much stretch I've got there? And it curves, okay? That's why we do it. So if you look back on our YouTube tutorials, there are ones there about cutting bias strips, okay? So I'm going to come all the way down to here. When we get to this end, I'm going to trim it off and turn it under like we did this end, but I'm going to do it when I get to it. Okay, I'm going to stop about here and do it then. If I do it now, you can guarantee this will move a little bit and it'll be in the wrong place. Okay, so we're going to go back to the machine and we're going to stitch this down. So I'm going to up my stitch length a little bit as well. I'm going to go up to 3, just because I'm going through a lot of bulk. All right, so tuck that under there. So all it is edge of fabric on edge of foot, and round we go. So, anybody else there commenting while I'm doing this? Slow it down a little bit as well while you're doing this, okay? Because you've got a lot of bulk. Any other comments there? Anybody having a chat?
Not come in since that bias question.
Any comments from back earlier that we missed?
Give me a sec.
Pardon?
Give me a sec.
You scrolling back through. You could do a slightly wider stitch here. You don't have to do a 1/4 inch. You could do it maybe like just normal edge of foot if you wanted. So I'm just slowing it down to go around that curve and keeping that the edge of the curve right on the edge of the foot. Okay, like that. So and steady, sort of, 5 or 6 stitches, stopping, repositioning, just making sure it's all going into place. Okay.
Anne says, would you use your walking foot?
You could do if you wanted to. I don't think you necessarily need to. Not on a project this small. I find actually using my general foot, not my 1/4 inch foot, just my general foot. I think on this fabric, this one it's a J or an N. Just my standard foot is fine. Okay, so let me get round to this bit. Just make sure that's all tucked under nicely. All the way around. Okay, and then there's one little other trick before it's back down to hand sewing. Okay. So when I get to this one here, okay, I want to leave a little bit of a tail. Okay, I'm going to stop with the needle in, alright, so I can pivot this towards you. Hopefully you guys can see this. So I want to cut it off just a weeny bit bigger. What's that, about 1 inch bigger, okay, like that. Now actually, let me just come back here. I'm going to take this off the machine, so I'm just going to back stitch a little bit, a second, so I can show this. When I did the other one, when you're doing it in front of you, it's actually a lot, you can do this without taking it off the machine, but trying to show you it is not necessarily the easiest thing on the machine. Okay, so we're just going to open this one out, and in line with the bottom, just like over here, we're going to fold that over again, like that. Make sure it's all nice and tucked in, and it's all the right length. So get that raw edge all tucked in, and just manipulate it until it's the right length. And then give it a quick press, okay? So you can just finger press that. If you're going to keep it on the machine, just finger press it, okay? But I thought we'll just take it off just so to show you. And then I can just carry on stitching that on. That was so much easier with bias binding. The air was blue last night. I was like proper cross with it. And make sure you back stitch as well to really, hold that in place. Okay, any questions or comments there? So I'm going to iron this out now, okay?
Sandra said, how did you get on at the hosp?
How did I get on the hospital? Oh, it was fine, thank you. I'm allergic to all the things I already knew I was allergic to. They just proved it. Well, they've proved it 4 times already. No, this was my 4th lot of skin tests. But yeah, they've given me some new tablets to try, and they're going to try me on some immunotherapy, which is basically just feeding me stuff that I'm allergic to in tiny doses over the next 3 years to try and control it. A lot of it will be controlled once I've had the operation on my nose, but I'm just waiting for that in a minute. Okay. So, but yes, it was fine, thank you. It was absolutely fine. So, no real new information that I didn't know before. You're then going to push this out. So I've given it a weenie iron. You're going to push it out. Okay, no you're not. We're going to clip into the curves. Excuse me. Skipping over ahead. Now, I like my old pinking shears for this because it's so much easier. Okay, so all I'm going to do is literally just chop off a weeny bit of that excess. Now, careful not to cut your binding. Trying to do this towards the camera is not easy. Okay, so I'm just going to cut round this just to get rid of the majority of that excess. Okay, just around the curve in particular, because even though you've got a bias binding, oh, I'm not doing a very good job at this. It's because I'm trying to hold it at an angle. There we go, all the way around like that. Okay, round my curve, make a right mess. There we go. And then you can pull this over and tuck it all under nicely like this. Okay, and you've got that nice neat curve there. Ah, it's such a shame I had a seam. If I'd have had I've got that seam right in the front. That's the pain. I should have had maybe cut a longer bias strip, and I wouldn't have had to join it. But it's done now. It's fine. It's not going to bother me too much. Again, give it a really good press, and then you're going to I would hand stitch it. You don't have to, but I would. I like that finish. Okay, so I would then slip stitch this down all the way round. Can you see? So I've just slip stitched round there. Okay, it's not particularly neat because I was doing it very late last night, but I would just, you could, if you wanted to, just like we did here, stitch in the ditch all the way round, and it will catch your binding. Okay, so you would do that all the way round that bit there. All right, so I'm just going to put a couple of clips in just to hold it over so you can kind of see the finished object. So if I just pop a couple of clips in there and there. Any other questions or comments there just while I'm doing this?
Jean said, see a sequin or a button over the join.
Oh, yeah, couldn't I? Yeah, I might do that. Yeah, it's really annoying. Right, see, I should have timed that better. I wouldn't have minded so much if it was over here, but it's right on the front. So, excuse me, right on the front. Let me just pop a couple in, just hold this down so you can kind of see the finished item. Here we go. And I would just invisible slip stitch, or like I said, stitch in the ditch all the way around, just to hold all this in place. There we go. Oh, excuse me. And that is your case. Let me just put it on there, just hold that down. That's your, once you've done that little bit of hand stitching, that's your case finished. Okay. You could, if you wanted to, sew a little popper there and there, just to keep it closed. But actually, this fusible fleece, kind of, it's got enough weight in it that I don't think it actually needs it. But then it means that you can just slide your tablet in there like that, and you're all done. And you can do, like I said, you can do as much stitching as you want on it. You know, you might decide if you're lucky enough to have a machine that does like alphabet stitching, you could actually do, you know, like somebody's name or a little message or something in it, you know, and add extra lines and things. So entirely up to you how you play around with it. It's just a nice excuse to play with your stitches. Okay, so that's it ladies. So decorative tablet cases. I really like these. I might be making these for Christmas presents actually, because I actually think as well they can quite make like a what's it, a pochette handbag. You know, when you have that nice square handbag. You know, maybe if I did a square top to it. Sorry, it's the dust from that. I can feel it tickling. I've got it in my throat. So, any questions or comments there, love? Just while I choke.
Tracy said, have you got the new Liberty yet?
It's not in yet. It's not in yet. It's actually on my list to ring EQS today and find out when it's due in, because we were told last week of October, first week of November. It's not in yet. It will be soon, though. We have ordered another one that's coming in January as well. But shh.
There's a couple of fabs. Nice project, love it.
Good. Glad you enjoyed. Fabulous. Okay, I've definitely got swallowed a thread because I can feel it tickling. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I will be back tomorrow for block of the week, and we'll do a bit of patchwork. And then we're going to do some applique on Thursday. I've drawn a new Christmas applique, so we're going to be doing that on Thursday. So I'll see you all tomorrow at 1. Don't forget the Advent's running if you haven't had a go yet. I'm slowly swapping all the patterns over to digital as well as paper copies. So I think I've done about 12 this morning. So a lot of our patterns will now be digital, so you can get those. We've got variegated threads, and we've got that Fusible Fleece online if you need it. But have a little go. And if you do make one, don't forget to put it on the Gigless page. Okay? So yeah, lovely. See you tomorrow, guys. Bye.